Hi everyone, it's your girl Exquisite Black Rose, and on today's video I'm going to be doing a makeup and story time. I haven't done it in a few months, so here's another one. May of 2021, I got COVID. Me and my two daughters also had it, so let's begin. Yo, I'm still trying to get used to this. I don't know how some of the YouTubers do it, but if I put the camera directly in front of me, I can't see how I'm doing my makeup. So I have to have it to the side and it just feels so awkward. I don't know how. I've been doing makeup on YouTube for 3 years and I really can't get the hang of it after all this time. So anyways, last year in May of 2021, that was around the time when kids had to take the LEAP test, right? And I opted out of in-person learning because I just still felt like it wasn't safe for my kids to go. They were still doing virtual. And my daughter's 8th grade year, they said the kids had to come in person, which I really didn't want that to happen. But this is her 8th grade year, number one. Number two, usually the 8th grade LEAP test helps you get in high school. So if you don't take it, you pretty much is screwed. And there was no option for them to do it at home, right? Now, mind you, the entire year of 2020 and 2021 up until that point, my kids stayed home. Like, that was just that. There was no school. We were still under quarantine. She had to go to school for a whole week. She went to school and guess what happened? This whole time, we hadn't caught COVID. We hadn't got sick. None of my kids had a cold, no stomach virus. Nobody got sick at all because we always at home away from germs. Do you know my daughter went to school for those 5 days and contracted COVID? I was so mad, but this is the thing. We didn't know she had COVID. My daughter has a very, very, very strong immune system because I don't know if you guys heard, but old people, when I was first raising my daughter, used to tell me all the time, let your baby get sick because it's going to build up their immune system. And when they get older, they're not going to get sick as much, which is true. This is my oldest, my 15-year-old. When she was going to daycare when she was younger, she stayed with the runny nose, like constantly. Always had a runny nose, runny nose, runny nose. I'm like, oh. There was times where I took her out of daycare, put her back in daycare. Took her because I was just so over her always having a nasty nose. Like that is disgusting. I'm like, oh, they was right. Because guess what? My daughter barely gets sick. Like ever. She barely gets sick. We didn't know she had it because her immune system is so strong that when she does get sick, it's really not that bad. While she was at school, she fell and got a big old knot on her head, this big, plain. I had a conversation. I told her not to be all in people's face. We had a long conversation. And she wanted to go back to in person, but I was like, I don't trust y'all to be responsible. And of course, she wasn't responsible because she was playing around with her friends. So I was taking her to the hospital for that big old lump on her head. And when we were getting ready, as we're getting ready to go, she coughed. She said, just that one cough now, that's it. But that one cough did not sound like no regular cough. That didn't sound like a, ooh, let me clear my throat. That sounded like a, what is that? That's what it sounded. And I was like, oh, hell no. She was like, what? I'm like, did you not just hear that cough? That don't sound right. I'm getting you tested for COVID. I'm spiritual and I have very strong intuition ever since I was a little girl. I have dreams. I understand energy when I'm around people. So when she coughed, my intuition kicked in and I said, oh, she got COVID. Because something don't sound right. Okay, so let's stop there. After I told her she getting tested because they won't call. That was on a Monday. Let's rewind to that previous Thursday. Okay, I'm gonna get you back today. I got to put everything together. That was Monday when I took her to the doctor. A previous Thursday, this is what else happened. Thursday, I went to IHOP with my mom, right? Just a regular old IHOP trip, you know. They bought me my grits because I ordered grits. And it was absolutely disgusting. I added seasoning to it. It was just like water. My pancakes was not that great. I was like, oh no, the service was horrible. We waited like an hour and there was nobody in there. The manager was cooking and service. I assume that's why the food was so disgusting, which the food looked horrible, but it also didn't taste that great, right? I brought my food home. The next day, which was that Friday, I woke up in the morning and I was eating my grits and I was like, oh, this is even worse than yesterday. What the hell? I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tony's, but I had some Tony's sachets and I sprinkled it. I tell you no lie, I sprinkled that Tony's at least 4 to 5 times. I put salt, I put pepper, I put every single thing I could think of, and it was still disgusting. Mind you, I'm thinking this is just like the worst food ever. I put 2 slices of cheese in the grits. Still disgusting. I said, what? How do you F up some damn grits? So I'm still not thinking, y'all. So my sister comes over that day. She's big and pregnant. She was like 1 week close to her due date. And she bought me these stuffed beignets. I'm so happy. This is my first time trying it. She was so happy about it, and so was I. So I bit into it. I had a Philly cheesesteak. I love Philly cheesesteak. So that's what I told her to get. She had a chicken and something. And she was like, oh, this is good. And I was like, well, let me taste a piece of yours because mine is disgusting. And she was like, okay. So I taste her. I say, does this have flavor to you? She said, yeah, it tastes fine. I said, this need more seasoning. I went and got some seasoning. I got some of this like sauce that I have, and I tasted. I actually could taste the sauce. And I was like, oh, that tastes much better. Nothing else I was doing was working. So I was just like, man, what the hell? So in the middle of me eating, I don't know what came over me. And I was like, Dara, I think I have COVID. And she was like, bitch, don't say that. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. I'm like, and she pregnant, so I guess that's why she said that. But you know, she was joking. I was like, no, serious shit. Like, I can't taste anything. And I'm just like putting 2 and 2 together that everything is nasty to me. Nothing has flavor. I can't taste anything. Something is wrong. And she was like, oh, I hope not, because she had been with me, I want to say earlier that week. And then she was at my house that Friday, and I was like, something is just not right. Just don't understand why I can't taste anything at all. And she was like, yeah, that is strange. Okay. The next day, which was that Saturday, my niece came over to get her wig installed for me to do her lace front. Before she came that morning, I was feeling really, really weird. Oh my God. I'm 31 years old. And at the time I was 30. But I've never felt weird like that before. I'm used to pain. I'm used to odd things happening to my body. But that was unusual. So I woke up that morning and I felt tingling in my throat. And it didn't feel like no regular tingling. It didn't feel like if you had a sore throat or nothing. It was like a weird like tingle, like nerves. I don't know how to explain it, but it was the weirdest feeling ever. And I was like, Lord. First, I couldn't taste nothing. And now I got tingle in my throat. I ain't been around nobody. So I'm like, what? I don't know. Maybe I'm just tripping. I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's just my allergies. And then all of a sudden, I got this weird tingly feeling around my nostrils. And all back here was just tingly. And I just felt really strange. And then my eyes started hurting. I was like, what? I said, whoa, this is some bad allergy I'm going through right now. They must be sprinkling something in the air outside, because what the hell wrong with me, right? Then my niece comes over. I do her hair. And before she comes in, I'm like, look, I think it's my allergies. Something strange is going on. Keep your mask on. I say it could be allergies. I could be getting sick or something. I don't want to get you sick. I'm not sure what is going on. But just to be on the safe side, because most of the time me and my family are safe when it comes to that, because we didn't want to catch COVID. So I was like, you know, you never know at this point, because they have symptom after symptom. They changing this. You don't know what's going on. So she's like, okay, that's cool. Halfway into me doing her hair, I started getting body aches. And I'm like, oh, shit. I'm about to have a flare-up, or lupus and fibromyalgia flare-up. I'm like, ooh, I feel bad. Dang, it's been some time since I had a really bad flare-up like this. I just was like, oh my goodness, I feel really weird. In between me doing her hair, I was letting her hair dry, and I just laid out on the floor. I couldn't do anything. I was like, oh man, like I'm feeling worse and worse and worse. And I was just like, whoa, Lord, this is a really bad flare-up, and I don't understand why I'm having it. So whatever I had did the previous day, I just chalked it up to maybe that's why I was in so much pain. I did her hair, and then when she finished, I was like, I can't do nothing else. That was my daddy's birthday, and everybody was going out to eat afterwards. So I was like, well, I'm gonna take some medicine. I'm gonna take my gabapentin. I'm gonna take my ibuprofen, and I'm gonna lay down, and hopefully by the time it's time to go to dinner, I feel better, because I can't go anywhere feeling like this. Once again, I chalked it up to me standing up doing her hair, because I can't stand long periods of time. So I chalked it up to that, and me sitting down in my stool and getting up. And I was like, maybe that's why I'm feeling worse, because it doesn't really take much. Okay, I laid down and I took my medicine, and I just was feeling awful. My eyes had turned bloodshot red. And I'm like, what the hell? So then they kept asking me if I was coming. And because I've been diagnosed with lupus since I was 23 years old, that's when I got diagnosed. So I've been dealing with this a long time. So I kind of know how to fight through the pain and push through it because it's been a long time coming. I mean, I'm in pain every day. That's just what it is. I was like, you know what? Put my big girl pants on, take me some medicine, I'ma just go. I still got dressed, I still put on makeup, I still got up and went. I was just trying to fight through the pain. I still had an appetite, but I really wasn't tasting nothing like that. I just was like, oh, okay. My sister was like, you want to taste this? I was like, yeah. So she passed me her cup, and I was like, take a straw because I haven't been feeling good. I'm gonna use my own straw. So I slurped whatever it was and I went like this so I wouldn't leave no backwash. Cause something just was telling me you're not feeling well, something ain't right, you know? So Sunday I still wasn't feeling all that great, but Monday I actually felt better when it came to body pain. But I was still having pain in my eyes, but I was still able to wear my contacts. I still was feeling like weird tingly, like nasally. I was just feeling weird. So let's get back to it. So that Monday morning, like I said, the situation happened with my daughter. And then we went to the emergency room. So I'm telling them what happened with her head. And I was like, oh, she needs to get tested for COVID. And they're like, well, they still was tripping about who they test and da. I was like, well, she has a really bad cough and it did not sound right to me. I don't like it. It sounded strange. I just want to be sure that nothing's wrong because she was around people and we're not used to being around people because of the pandemic. So they was like, okay, cool, whatever. Mind you, everything that I was going, she wasn't going through nothing, okay? Everything that I was going through, I knew something wasn't right with me. I just didn't know what it was because I didn't have a nasty cough. I wasn't having problems with my chest, so I knew something was wrong. But I was like, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just having a bad flare. My immune system is crazy. I don't know. But when I heard that cough that morning, I knew we had COVID. I knew it. My daughter's like, Mom, how did you think I have COVID just from that one little cough? I always have a nasty cough. No, little girl. It was so dry and it sounded like there was no mucus in her body. Like it was just air, like that was just, it just did not sound right. They tested her. 3 doctors came in the room and I'm like, what's going on? Why so many doctors coming in here? That's what I'm thinking. So she was like, well, Ayana did test positive for COVID. I lost my shit. I can't even lie to you. I lost my shit. I was like, what? I knew it. I was mad with her. I wasn't mad with her because she was sick. I was mad at her because she was not careful. You know, children don't listen. I had a long conversation with my child before I sent her to school, and I told her to be careful. I only believe in wearing KN95 masks to school because they're consistently around people. The schools are not making the children social distance as they should, even though they say they are. The classrooms are too small for you to have all these desks 6 feet apart. So therefore, I had a conversation with my children to make sure that they did what they were supposed to do. And that's just point blank period. I was upset at her because she wasn't doing what she was supposed to do. She was playing with her friends. You have to be in close contact. If your friend could chase you and push you down and you run into a gate and get your head all messed up. Like you're playing with people. You shouldn't even be playing with anyone. You go to school, you do your test, and you go home. Why? I don't even understand why the school allowed that. But the schools don't do what they're supposed to do. And I'm going to just say that. I said, ma'am, I have lupus. I need to be tested. I've been feeling strange since Thursday, and I know I have it now. I'm hoping I don't, but I know I have it because weird things have been happening to me that I have not been able to understand why. Mind you, I am feeling better today when it came to my body. I was still in pain, but I didn't feel like I had just gotten into an accident and a car rolled over me because that's what flare-ups feel like. I was able to get up and do whatever. So she's like, okay, so she tested me and she came back and said, you're positive for COVID. I immediately started crying. I was very scared because I'm like, I'm gonna die. My children gonna be here by themselves. They're not gonna have a mom no more. I'm dying. I know it because I've been sick and it's weird and I don't like the way I'm feeling. And 2 days from now I'm gonna be dead. I already know it. So I'm bawling, crying. And she was like, you know, what's the matter? The doctor, what's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter? I have COVID. That's what's the matter. I have lupus. That's what's the matter. My organs are already capable of being damaged. That's what's the matter. What you mean, what's the matter? My body can't even fight off anything like it's supposed to. That's what's the matter. And she was like, there's this program for people that have autoimmune disorders and people who are high risk and, you know, that need help. She said that I was going to be doing some infusions. If you're, you know, open with it, it's going to help you. It's going to put antibodies in your body to fight off stuff because you have a weak immune system. And I'm like, look, at this point, something already into my body that is not even that common, that's still new to everybody. So yeah, I'll do it. Okay, fine. Went home. I tested my son. I tested my other daughter. They were negative. My dad came, got my other 2 kids. But you know what's crazy? I didn't even tell y'all this part. How I got COVID. Like, we're pretty, like, independent people in my household. So everybody has their own room, you know, their own TV, you know, everybody do their own thing. Most of the time, we get together as family, of course, but everybody does their own thing. But for some reason, one day during that previous week, I felt the need to be closer to my kids. So I told my 2 daughters, my son likes to play Fortnite up here. I told my 2 daughters to come get in the bed with me and watch a movie. So we watched a movie and they fell asleep and they slept in the bed with me the whole night. That was the night me and my little baby came into contact with my daughter and we caught it. I caught it first. My body don't take long to do nothing, okay? Somebody could sneeze on the side of the room. I guarantee you not. The next day or the day after, I'm going to be sick. That's just how it is. But Lola, she was negative even though she slept on Ayana's chest. So I think it just takes a while. Like I said, my immune system said, hey, come on in. We don't care. Come on in here. I want to say that Tuesday, everything started again. It was like the pains. Let me just talk to y'all about the pains. The pains were excruciating. My body was in so much pain. Oh my God. I can't even explain to you how that felt. The pain was just pretty much unbearable. So I had the pains. And then my eyes, I couldn't really see. I don't know why, but I couldn't really see. My eyes were hurting so bad. That Tuesday when my little girl left, I feel like my body was trying to hold on so much because I was trying to take care of them. And it was like as soon as they left, my body was like, okay, now you have to heal, but you have to go through what you have to go through. Y'all, the pain was so bad. I was in my bed for 4 days straight. My daughter, I want to say she lost her smell, I think. And she had a bad cough. She didn't have a big appetite. Neither did I. So when we would eat, we would force ourselves to eat, but we would only eat halfway through, and that was it. She could still taste, but she just could not eat all her food. I would eat halfway through, and I just couldn't eat my food. Everything tastes like cardboard. Everything. I'm like, oh, this tastes like cardboard. Oh, this is disgusting. Oh, everything was freaking nasty, okay? So maybe that's why I couldn't eat it. I'm actually getting ready for bed, and I was editing a video. I didn't wash my face off yet, but I was editing a video, and I realized that I missed talking about the most important part of my COVID story, which was the headaches. I'm going to briefly talk about that. Okay, so the headaches, I think, were the worst part of everything. I don't know how I forgot about that. It was worse than the body aches. It was the worst migraine I have ever had in my entire life. And also, like, my memory is worse. I could be doing something and I forget, which my memory was already bad before because I have lupus fog where I forget stuff, but it's worse. But the headaches, there wasn't even headaches. I don't know what you call that, but it felt like a boulder. It literally felt like my brain was pressing against my skull. I have never experienced a migraine like that in my whole life. I developed high blood pressure for about 4 months after I had my last child. And those headaches were bad. So I was on like headache medication back then, and just for like 4 months. And the pains that I felt when I had COVID, the headaches that I felt then were like nothing that I have ever dealt with. That was the worst part of COVID. And I remember laying in my bed, tossing and turning, hard to sleep, but I really couldn't keep my eyes open because my eyes hurting. I remember praying and saying, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, because like, I don't know how else to explain it. But if you had COVID, the headaches are like, I don't know. You know how if you have a toothache, like it messes up everything and you're just in a bad mood and you feel like that's the worst. No. Imagine your brain feeling like it's going to explode, pressing against. Like it was the throbbing pain. It was so bad. All behind my ears would hurt. I know how the hell I forgot to tell y'all that. Also, this lady that worked at my daughter's school, she said when she caught COVID, she had the same problems with her head. And she said ever since she had COVID, even after 7 months of being done with it, she still was having migraines. It was like a permanent thing now. And her hair also started thinning, which is also a symptom. Isn't that weird, guys? This COVID thing has really just screwed with everybody. It's messing up our hair. It's messing up our immune system. It's messing up like the way our children learn, messing up the way we communicate with people. And you know, I just hope this time next year that we all be back to normal. But back to the video, guys. Back to the makeup. I couldn't get out of bed. I was just in the bed for days and days. I took my contacts out. I didn't watch TV for 3 straight days. All I did was wake up, go to sleep. Wake up, go to sleep. Like all day long, all I could do is sleep because I was in so much pain. Thursday or that Friday, I went in to do my infusion. I get to the place and they sit me in this chair and they hook up all these IVs to me. They do all my vitals and stuff like that. And I'm in a room with 2 other people who also have COVID. They gave me a drug called BAM. The BAM. When I'm sitting there and they put all these IVs in me, the nurse left the room. And the lady there got into the topic of, you know, this isn't FDA approved and it's new and blah, 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 blah. So I said she was telling me and I'm like this. What? COVID is new to everybody, but I guess I was thinking maybe it was something that's been around, like the drug they was giving me been around for other stuff, and they've noticed that it helps people who have COVID as well, because that's basically what I was told, that this is going to help you to get better and blah 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 because of your autoimmune disorder, whatever. So I wasn't thinking that this was some new shit. I wasn't thinking, because if I knew that, I probably wouldn't have got it. So I was like, you so funny, lady. She was like, no babe, that's what it is. And I'm like, they didn't tell me that, because I don't think I would have got that if I knew. Now I sat there, I had to be on the machine for I want to say 2 hours or so. So I was on the machine and I just basically sat there and just let them do their thing. I went home and my oxygen levels stayed at 98%. The whole time during me having COVID, I just kept telling myself that the whole time, like, as long as I'm still breathing, as long as my lungs are good, as long as I don't have a nasty cough, I could deal with the pain. Like, it was excruciating and I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but I can deal with the pain because I deal with pain on a daily basis. As long as I know that I'm not dying and I'm going to be here for my kids in a couple days, you know, in a couple weeks, I'm okay, you know, I'm going to just bear and go through it. I want to say I was a little nauseated every now and then. I just took nausea pills. I didn't throw up. Yeah, so I was in the pain. My oxygen levels stayed at 98%, which they kept saying was good. So I had a machine that I took home with me, and I think every 2 or 4 hours, I had to check my oxygen levels. And it was like, if it goes anything under 94%, you need to go to the emergency room as soon as possible. But I stayed at 98, which was good. And I was like, the Lord is with me, because I just knew I was dying. I just knew I'm going to be one of those people everybody's going to miss. And, yeah, but long as my oxygen levels was good, I was okay. So after all of that, like 2 days after my daughter got to my parents' home, she started running a fever. I was like, she got COVID, bring her home. But my mom, you know how old people are. My mom was like, oh no, she has a runny nose. I think she just has a bad cold. I said, Mama, what cold you know when you get a fever? That's flu symptom. A fever is a sign that something is wrong. So what are you talking about? She was like, she's fine, baby. We went and bought her some fever medicine. She all right. She okay. I'm like, Mom, I don't trust it, because this was just 2 days afterwards. I'm like, okay, Mom, if you want to keep her, that's fine, but I need you to wear a mask around her. Please. Don't let her breathe in your face. Don't eat from her, or don't let her eat from you. Like, keep everything separate. Her being a loving grandma, she FaceTimed me, and Lola was laying on her lap, and I'm like, Mom, didn't I tell you not to hold her when she don't feel good. I know, but I don't want you to get sick and everybody gonna be mad at me. No, like comfort her. And then she didn't have a mask on. I said, Mama, didn't I tell you to wear a mask? She said, all right. So she put her mask on, and you know, she was like, yeah, she's okay. So my daughter stayed over there, I want to say a whole week. I think her fever might lasted 3 days, and that was it. I was finished with my quarantine, and it was time for Lola to go back to school. So I was like, okay, y'all, bring her home, because tomorrow I need to take her to the doctor to get a test so that she could go back to school. She's actually feeling better, but she still had like a slight runny nose. But she was feeling better. She was running around, doing whatever like that. So I was like, well, maybe my mom was right, because if she had COVID, she'd have been down and out like how I was. Took her to go get clearance. What she did? Had COVID. I say, I know you lying to me. You could be around someone that has COVID and you say, well, let me go get tested just in case, because I was around this person. And then you test negative. It takes 2 to 5 days for it to even show up in your system. So therefore, that doesn't mean you're in the clear. That's why they still tell you to quarantine afterwards, because it's really possible that you can actually catch it. So I'm like, oh crap. So I told my mom she had to get tested or whatever like that. So anyway, so let's go back. So I want to say on maybe the second to last day of my quarantine with having COVID, I got diarrhea. I had diarrhea the entire time. I couldn't taste. I had the body aches or whatever like that, but I didn't have any pooping. And then the second to the last day, it was like a waterfall. I was like, what is wrong with me? Me being who I am, I was like, you know what? My body is just trying to exit the last of that nasty virus that's in my body. It's just trying to get it all out. That's all. Because diarrhea is a sign that something's wrong, right? So I just assumed my body was trying to get rid of that nasty stuff that I just had. So I was like, okay, remember that. Remember diarrhea. I know it's gonna be weird, but remember that, okay? So let's talk after everything went down and I caught COVID and I healed and I was able to be around people again. I started having long-term effects. And to this day, this is March. So that's almost a year. It's going on a year soon. So what is it, like 10 months? I am still having long-term effects from having COVID. For example, I didn't cough. I think I sneezed a few times, but I didn't have a cough. So after that, like, I tell you no lie, months and months and months. After having COVID, at least twice a week, me, my daughters, at least twice a week, we would cough. Like, just get one cough, and it was like a lasting cough. Like, it just would not go away. And I'm like, where did that even come from? I just, and you're like, what? Why? I don't understand. So that was really kind of weird to me. And it went away for like 2 months, and guess what? We're all coughing again. Like, why? I don't understand that. My son never caught it until recently. And then we didn't even have it. He just had it. When my taste came back, it was like I had never tasted food for the first time. It was like, oh my God, this is how food tastes. It was like tasting flavor for the first time. For people, you know, that don't really cook that well. And then you taste someone's food at a restaurant, you're like, oh, wow. Oh. Yeah, it was like that. It was like never tasting good food and then all of a sudden tasting good food. So that was a good thing, I guess. My taste did come back. I had so many eye problems. My eye went from a 4.25, I believe, to now a 5. I've been having problems with this eye ever since. My eyes stayed bloodshot red for months. 4 months. I kept having problems with my eyes. My eyes were always red. They finally stopped maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Finally. I'm like, I don't understand why I'm still having problems with my eyes. What else? Oh, IBS. I believe I already had IBS and lactose intolerance, but like it's on 100 now. When I tell y'all, like the after effects with my stomach, I've had so many stomach problems from having COVID. Is absolutely ridiculous. If there was some type of study without giving me any type of medicine for that, I would definitely do it, because the stomach problems have not ceased yet. I always go to the bathroom. I have a history of constipation, but now I get constipated. I constantly well, not now. It's not as bad. I've been on a cleanse for the last 2 months. It's actually been better than before. for some reason. I went on a total cleanse and I still have it, but it's not as bad. But yes, the stomach problems, they don't tell you about all of that. I can be eating something and I tell you no lie, 5 to 10 minutes afterwards, I have to go to the bathroom. And it's like water. I'm like, excessive diarrhea? I didn't know that was a thing. And then I just decided to start researching and looking it up. And it was saying that you can have long-term stomach problems from having COVID. And I did not know that. For months, I went on wondering, what is wrong with me? Like, I don't understand. And it makes my lactose intolerance 100 times worse. When I tell you 5 to 10 minutes, that's it. That's all it takes. That's it. I also was watching someone on Facebook. And I feel so bad for the woman. I don't know what's worse, having to shit all the time, like water, or not being able to taste. I was watching this documentary with this girl who had it. And she says she haven't been able to taste for a year. She can't smell. Everything smells like garbage. Everything tastes like garbage. I don't know how you know how garbage tastes, but I don't know, but that's disgusting. I personally would be small. I probably would have lost at least 50 pounds had I not been able to taste anything for a year, and you still can't taste. It's sad. The woman's like, yeah, I've went to the doctor a million times. They've done tests, they've done everything, and they said there's just nothing that they can do because it's a long-term effect from having COVID. And I think that needs to be talked about more because they're not really on the COVID train like they was, but there was a point in time where that's all you heard 24/7. Like there was nothing else going on in the news. It was just COVID, 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 COVID. But I feel like during those times, they should have told people about the long-term effects. It's nothing that really gets talked about like it should for some reason. I mean, could you imagine eating and everything tastes like shit? Like, there's no way. Could you imagine every time you eat, you have to shit? That's been my life for the last year. Like, I just don't understand why. But I am happy that me and my children are better. I'm glad that's over. I just wish that there was something that they can do for people, like some kind of drug that could get your body back to normal, like get those antibodies out. Because when I researched, it said that any type of antibody stays in your system for up to 5 years. And I think that's why I didn't catch COVID again, because I've been around several people after having COVID. After my 90 days, I've been around several people who had COVID, and I never caught it because a lot of my family members ended up catching it way after the fact. My son never caught it. He caught it the strangest way because he's been around people too, and he never caught it. Isn't that strange? Anyone out there has any advice when it comes to long-term effects after having COVID, please write me, send me a message, leave it in the comment section down below. Let me know like what things can I do. I always had stomach problems, but I think that just made them more intense. Every morning I get sick. My stomach is just like, you had something that you were supposed to have, so I'm gonna just act the fool. That's all. That's pretty much my whole COVID story. That's what happened. So now that I've told you my story, I'm glad that I'm doing better, and I hope that if you had COVID that you're better as well. So now I'm just gonna finish my makeup and then we'll be finished. Lips, and then I'm gonna be done. But you know what, guys, I forgot to mention that during having COVID that the state of Louisiana was on it. They call anyway, but when you're high risk, they will check on you every day. So every single day a nurse will call me, which I think was pretty awesome. You got to give it to the healthcare providers and people that's on the front line and taking care of sick people. They were on it. They called me every single day. And then they will also send me a text in the evening to ask if I was okay. They asked, do you need anything? They asked if there's any change. Do you have any up-to-date symptoms? I think they do that because they want to keep up. You know how you see in the news, well, this amount of people say they have this complication. That's how they have all those percentages of people that go through this, that, and the other. So they will call and check on me and just make sure that I was doing okay. They would ask about my vitals. I don't know how they do it in other states. Then they didn't want you leaving the house when you had COVID. So they would actually ask you if you need anything. And they bought me 4 big boxes of food with rice, tomato sauce, oatmeal, you know, just a whole bunch of stuff, beans for me to cook or whatever like that. And even one day they even DoorDash me some McDonald's. They go through this organization called Volunteers of America, and they call and ask you what you need. And then the state of Louisiana will follow up with you to see if they actually called you. Bought us cleaning supplies. It was pretty good because we didn't have to leave the house. I do believe that if you catch COVID, you should also have your family support because you really shouldn't be going anywhere, even if they have to drop it off at your porch and leave. So I think it was pretty cool that the state was doing it. I don't think they're doing that anymore because the response to COVID right now is so weird to where they're telling you, yeah, quarantine for 5 days, and then after 5 days you could still contagious, but you could go out, just wear a tight fit mask. Ain't that what we're supposed to be doing anyway? That's what they told me for my son when he tested positive. He tested positive in the new COVID days. So I don't know. I see so many COVID stories, and I was like, you know what? Let me share mine. I survived COVID with having an autoimmune disorder. All I can say is, guys, be safe out there. Protect yourself. Do what you have to do. Don't let anybody force you to do anything you don't want to do. And stay safe. Take your vitamins. If you're into vitamins, I advise you to take them. Oh, that's another thing I didn't mention. I took some medicine and I took some vitamins while I had COVID. I can't remember the name of the medicine that they gave me, but me and my daughter shared it because I had to pay out of pocket. Our insurance refused to pay for it. It's crazy. So me and my daughter just ended up sharing a bottle of medicine because it was like too much. I also took some type of vitamin called NAC. It's supposed to be really good for stuff like that. I took sea moss while I had it. I took vitamin C. I also took B12. I took all of those vitamins while I had COVID because I was trying to fight it. And the antibodies that they did give me did help. It took a couple of days for me to start feeling better. But in the end, I'm just glad I survived and my children are here. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. And also, guys, if you're not following me on Instagram, my name is also ExBlackrose. I also have a TikTok now. I really don't know how to use it too much, but I do have one. So if you guys want to follow me on TikTok, it is DA_BlackRose. And on Facebook and Instagram, it is ExquisiteBlackRose. If you guys have thinning hair that you're losing, if your hair is just thin and brittle, let's say you have bald spots, you need to try my growth serum. My growth serums are 100% natural. They're made with a lot of nutrients such as black seeds, hemp seeds, and a whole bunch of other things. So if you're interested in purchasing some growth serum from your hair, it's good for people who have thinning hair. It's good for people who have disorders that make you lose your hair. It's good for anyone, men, women. If you guys are interested, the link is down below. The name of my website is called www.haircandy.biz. I'll leave it in the link below, and I hope you guys make a purchase. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Until next time, bye.